300 offenses. One camera, but it's in a roundabout, so there are 4 cameras. All the 4 cameras each record 300 offenses. And of the 300 offenses, Mr. Speaker, they are about, the fine goes up to 3,000. If you calculate the amount of money raised from those 4 cameras, it comes to 1.2 billion, Mr. Speaker, in a year. That's one roundabout. What we are going to do, and this is not something we're imagining, it's already being worked by Kura, and NTSA is also working. We will bring them together. We will make sure that this technology is put across all the roads, our urban roads to start with, and the highways. Then, Mr. Speaker, we will remove police from the road. It will be the smart technology we are using. The e-police will work, record all these offenses, and instant fines are levied. Of course, we'll have to come back to Parliament here to pass the proper legislation and bring together all the agencies. If we do that, we are likely actually per year to raise not less than 50 billion in Nairobi alone from offenses. Of course, people will now behave as you progress. When you go to the highways, Mr. Speaker, if we manage actually to dwell the roads the way we are dwelling, and then put the cameras there, we don't need a policeman in the highway. You just records the offenses, and you take responsibility. Your fines come to you. Your insurance will be expensive if you become a serial offender, like it does in all over the world. That is how we are going to reduce, Mr. Speaker, road carnage, and we make Kenyans become more responsible. Now, the good thing with this technology, it doesn't know this is the Speaker, this is the Minister, this is who. Everybody will just be recorded. The idea of meeting a policeman and rolling down your window and saying, oh, this is me, and they say, oh, Mheshimiwa, just go, will not be there, because everybody will be able to pay for that. Mr. Speaker, therefore, let me now go to the answers that questions that have been asked. I agree with Honorable Koech, the question of capture of this sector. Honorable Koech, the good thing is that I don't come from this sector per se. I am an outsider. So I'm not conflicted. I've never been a road contractor. I have never worked in mostly on most of the sectors. So I tell them that when I arrive, Mr. Speaker, there is a new sheriff in town if I'm approved, and that will do things the right way. Number 2, you talked about local contractors, and somebody else also raised that issue down here. We'll make sure that the policy that was put in place that all contracts below 1 billion shall go to local contractors is strictly implemented, because we cannot continue growing foreign contractors and we punish our own contractors. And we will go up to the company's registry to lift the veil, so that you don't become a foreigner, register a local company and say, I'm a local company. Yeah, we'll make sure that its company is owned by citizens, so that we achieve the intention that only companies that will get the below 1 billion will go to citizens. Let's put it that way, so that we can be able to grow our own citizens. The roads on Caleb, you are my neighbor. I live in your county, and the point is that there is no opposition. If you know Murkomen well, I work with everybody. And the government of Kenya, promised by the president also, is that we are not going to develop this country based on whom we know and where someone comes from. If you want me to, soon after approval, to go with you to see the roads, we will go there, and then I will work on the plans. Of course, we don't want to make roadside declarations of just standing there and saying, barabara kutoka hapa up to there, we will construct. I will be coming there when we have information and plans on how we will be able to do those roads. And I invite not just you. Honorable also doesn't have roads inside his constituency. Many roads in the northeastern part of the country are marginalized, not to mention also in many parts of the north, every part of the country actually has a place. Honorable also talks about I know, Honorable Caleb, I know you said you tried so hard to be part of government, but if you ask me, you were part of government for the last 5 years. So it doesn't help. Even being part of government does not help. Yeah, if the principle is marginalization, it is just marginalization. So we must make sure that we do that. Honorable Raso, I am very much aware. Anyone who is a scholar on areas of devolution must always start from sessional paper number 10 of 1965. And I know the marginalization that came in. That's why LabSet and other projects were put in place to remove this idea of establishing other areas as low potential areas. Public participation, we will ensure that in the final implementation we do that and we work with you, and I agree with you entirely. Even in a few briefs I've seen is that you find in one corner a road per kilometer is 80 million, in another place 40 million. We must have standard roads that can be counted. Honorable Shuria, yes, I agree, the road is ongoing, and we want to have the conversation with the contractor first so that we have a plan of Lamu to Isiolo. It's my hope that it is tarmacked, not just Mara, so that it can attract the investments that we want to have. Continuous maintenance is the same issue that you've said. We must be able to do that, and we must ring fence the resources for that. Honorable Emase, yes, I will come to see, and I will first establish the dwelling of that road, whether it is true, and quality of the roads. You are very right, not just in your county, also in my county. I know roads that were constructed, and in less than 5 years they have potholes, and there is no any maintenance. This is a thing that should be a thing of the past. On the question of non-motorized transport system, I want to say this. Just another statistic, Mr. Speaker. Nairobi, a half of Nairobians walk. Yet the budget for non-motorized transport is 2%. We don't have walking paths and we don't have cycling paths. In fact, many pedestrians are hit while walking. And this country, we lose, by the way, we lose 1,300. We've already lost 1,300 motorists, pedestrians, Mr. Speaker, hit by vehicles. I will check what statistics it is in Nairobi. It is, my plan is to, and this is, Mr. Speaker, it's not just Nairobi. If you go to Iten, Mr. Speaker, and Eldoret and Kapsabet, that is the area that produces the best athletes in the country, some of the best athletes in the country. But they don't have even a running track for training. Those of you who follow sports, you know in 2021, my friend Jobri Kamaror was preparing for Olympics, and he was ready to win as a gold of 10,000. But he was hit by a motorbike on the right side of the road. And many athletes have been hit by motorbikes. Mr. Speaker, we must make non-motorized transport, because it's the highest number of traffic in the country. We must make sure that it is a mandatory for every contractor, and the bill of quantities that's going to be presented should include cycling paths and walking paths, Mr. Speaker, and severe punishment. If you find the violators, if you have your motorbike and you are jumping into a walking path, Mr. Speaker, we must put severe punishment, and I agree that we must deal with that issue at the policy level and, Mr. Speaker, at the implementation level. Honorable Kikaria, on the airports, you've said Nakuru, but do you know that there was supposed to be airport somewhere in Naivasha town, which has been choked by buildings? If you ever fly in Naivasha, you will see something like there was a runway of some sort, but there is no. The runway has been, the land has been grabbed. The first thing we need to do is to, before even we construct every airstrip in every county, we must restore first and safeguard the properties of the KA across the country. And I will work with you and other Kenyans to ensure that. Of course, I will still be training with you at Nyayo Stadium. I don't know if I will play for Bunge FC. Learners, yes. I thought there was a question on
the equipment, road equipment.
Yes. Again, even where, that's a good question, supplementing what Honorable Koech said, even where we have ring-fenced contracts below 1 billion to local contractors, we must go ahead and say the contracts above 1 billion, 4, 5, 10 billion, must have a component of local contractors who are making their contribution to be subcontracted. On the bus rapid transport, my friend Honorable Mule, I can assure you that I am aware about it. There's a few issues. There are financial issues, actually. The company still requires a certain amount of money, almost 2 billion, to complete the infrastructure, and then the leasing of the buses. We will work together to see that that is achieved. In fact, that's not the only thing. We must make sure that Namata is empowered to coordinate road transport in the metropolitan area by having commuter rail working and the buses working. And we will work with private investors because, as you can see now, we don't have the money to be able to construct the roads ourselves and the railway. I don't think it is true that Tala or Donyo Sabuk is annuity. We need to confirm, because the annuity programs that are ongoing, as I inquired, was only the one that is going to from Loitoktok down to Taita Taveta, and the one that is in Samata, Modokash. But if that be the case, let me put qualification. If that be the case, you've already declared you're my friend. Apart from your right to come and see the cabinet secretary, if I'm approved, we can also sit down, me and you, to see the details of that fact. But let me assure you this: even if we are not going to continue with annuity programs, it does not mean that we will cancel haphazardly existing contracts. We will expose the country to very serious penalties. So already the contracts that have already been awarded will continue. Although if it was possible, the ones that are almost being awarded, to be awarded the same contractors but through conventional means, to save us, because if we continue this way, in the year 2027, and Honorable Kimani knows this because he was the budget committee, by 2027, we may not have money in the road maintenance levy to finance more roads or maintain roads. Annuity program, 2-3 people, contractors, will have taken the entire money. Just keep it in your mind that we did 91 kilometers in using 28 billion. The last thing is Honorable Junet. I think I mentioned this when you had stepped out a little, that the Kenya Ports Authority...
He hadn't stepped out, he came late.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair, I cannot jeopardize my own approval. So I have to look for a more friendly language to say this. But Mr. Speaker, the Port of Mombasa has already started processes of dealing with, the story of MV Uhuru and the transport of goods from the Port of Mombasa. Later, even outside this committee, we'll discuss matters of the railway going to Kisumu to ensure that we spur Kisumu as a regional hub for matters of transport. I talked about Kendu Bay, Homa Bay, and all those local transport by the Kenya Ports Authority.
Murkomen, I'll ask you 2 questions. Number 1, you've talked about everything except discipline on our roads. Michuki restored sanity on our roads in less than 2 months. Everybody was obeying traffic signs. Everybody was orderly. Everybody was respectful. What are you going to do about that? Number 2, road signage everywhere in this country is vandalized. You put road signage, you put embankments, they're all vandalized within no time. Can you consider looking for materials for signage and embankment that are not vulnerable to scrap metal dealers, because they're the ones who keep vandalizing these materials? And many accidents are caused because of lack of signage and embankment. And lastly, the point Koech raised. You have to bring some affirmative action to local contractors. A local contractor competing with a foreigner is allowed to bring in construction equipment duty-free, is given a maram pit to mine maram for free, is given a quarry to quarry materials for free, and is exempted sometimes from even VAT. And those foreigners are supposed to compete with local contractors for the same jobs. The local contractors go to the local bank, borrow money, buy trucks, pay duty on them, hire maram pits, pay for them, look for quarries, pay for them. How can they compete? What affirmative action do you have for local contractors?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the Michuki rules, listening to Professor Kindiki, my friend, and my teacher yesterday, I think we will have more collaboration between the Interior Ministry and our Transport Ministry, Mr. Speaker. Yeah, okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, the first thing, if you heard me right, we want to deploy the transport integrated management system, which otherwise also labeled by Kenya Urban Roads as intelligent transport system. Okay, Mr. Speaker, if we deploy that technology, we don't need to do the analog way of Michuki. We don't need to see policemen running, people, driving. We just tell you, continue your bad manners. Then we benefit from it. If we continue punishing you, punishing you today, punishing you tomorrow, punishing you the next day, that will be a deterrent, Mr. Speaker. And I believe that the resources that we get from these people can now be deployed to doing the road signage, supporting our traffic police, which is underfunded, ensuring that we have more e-technology expanded in the rest of the country. So I am going to come back to National Assembly and Parliament for that reason with a clear proposal on how to roll out the integrated transport system in the city of Nairobi to start with. And if we put these cameras in all corners, Mr. Speaker, we will make sure that we will catch all the offenders, Mr. Speaker, and take advantage of their bad manners to build this nation. And I am sure in less than 2 or 3 years, there will be deterrent. So I will be working in silence, Mr. Speaker, because the times require one to work in silence. There was a time of Michuki, you had to shout. But this time round, Mr. Speaker, with technology, you don't need to shout. You just make sure that you catch your offender, you send the bill to him, you make his insurance extremely expensive. In fact, if you continue being a serial offender, it will reach a stage where you will abandon your car because the insurance is more expensive than the car itself. And I think that will be a deterrent. I have told, and this is something we'll work together with other departments. On the affirmative action, part of the affirmative action is to ensure below 1 billion goes to Kenyan citizens. Already that will ensure that they are being paid. The other thing is to ensure that you prioritize Kenyan citizens when we are paying the pending bills. Because again, they are the ones being auctioned. The people are committing suicide. People are, families are breaking up because of pending bills. We'll ensure that we start with them to make sure that their pending bills are paid. On the issue of material, it is true. When the government declared a ban on sale of scrap metal, there was a lull for some time. In fact, the Kenya Railway people told me that at least their metallic scrap metals were safe. But as soon as that was lifted, we face also another challenge. And Mr. Speaker, I will invite professors in university and inventors, Mr. Speaker, and Kenyans who are watching me, young Kenyans who are watching me from across the country, should think about this as one way of inventing something that they can be able to make a living and protect our roads with proper road signage without really being stolen by scrap metal. Although if we deploy the cameras very well, with continuous active e-police in the command center, we will be able to identify directly, Mr. Speaker, with clarity that it is so and so who is coming, it's this time of the hour, and possibly, like the way we've deterred a lot of crime because of the cameras in Nairobi City, this can be also one of the solutions to make sure that people are not vandalizing our road signage. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Your last 3 minutes, tell us your wish.
Mr. Speaker, my first wish is to say, let me say this, that I hope the committee will find it in its entire wisdom, collectively and individually, right to approve me to this docket. I have been a member of Parliament. I understand the issues that affect the citizens of Kenya. I am available and ready to interact with colleagues and to interact with the people of Kenya in every part of this country and solve problems that the people of Kenya are facing without really waiting, Mr. Speaker, to be visited in my office. My office will make sure that it's devolved as per the expectations of the Constitution and reach out to all parts of the country. I will apply principles of equity, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that marginalized areas and areas left behind are carried along. And you know that, Mr. Speaker, because when we were in Senate, you saw my efforts to protect the counties, the marginalized counties in the county allocation revenue formula, even when their members of parliament were not ready to protect themselves. And so, Mr. Speaker, I will go out of my way to do my job diligently. And I hope after my tour of duty in this position, if approved, Mr. Speaker, is over, Kenyans will look back and say there lived a more serious, more committed public servant who was willing compassionately to solve problems that are bedeviling the people of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the time you gave me. I think this is the beginning of our interaction. I hope in the future we will be able to have more interaction with members of parliament as a representative of the people, members, council of governors, and other entities that work on matters roads to make sure that we solve the problems that are bedeviling our transport and infrastructure docket. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the appointing authority, and thank, without forgetting, Mr. Speaker, and more importantly, the people of Elgeyo-Marakwet County, without whom, Mr. Speaker, I would never be who I am, because they are the ones who took care of me, protected me, elected me, and now I have an opportunity given by the President to serve the people of Kenya. I want to say thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Murkomen. Before I release you, you will furnish our clerk and her team a copy of the judgment that you made reference to, the one that exonerated your law firm. Once you do that, you are released to go to your other national duties. Members, I'll give you 5 minutes to stretch. You will resume at 11:21.
Na mtazamaji, na hapo ndipo tamati ya kikao hiki cha kwanza cha kumsahili seneta wa gatuzi la Elgeyo-Marakwet na vilevile ambaye aliwahi kuhudumu kama kiongozi wa walio wengi katika bunge la Seneti, Onesmus Kipchumba Murkomen, akitetea ufafu wake kuwa waziri wa barabara na uchukuzi, wizara muhimu zaidi katika taifa hili. Kumbuka kwamba ameweza kuweka paruanja masuala ambayo yataweza kuwafanyia wananchi ikiwa jina lake litaweza kupitishwa na kamati ya watu 15 kiongozwa na spika wa bunge la kitaifa ambaye vilevile ndiye mwenyekiti Moses Masika Wetangula. Ameweza kuulizwa maswali kuhusiana jinsi atakavyopambana au kuimarisha ile mradi wa lapset na vilevile reli ya kisasa. Ameweza kuulizwa kuhusiana na swala zima ambalo limejitokeza wazi kuhusu kukabiliana na wale ambao wanakiuka sheria za trafiki, na akasema kwamba ataweka mpango kabambe kukabiliana na watu kama hao, na vilevile swala la kupewa kandarasi watu ambao hawajahitimu, na vilevile kudokeza kwamba atakabiliana na wale ambao wanafanya kazi duni ya kutekeleza au kuhakikisha kwamba barabara inatengezwa maeneo tofauti ya taifa hili. Ameweza vilevile kuzungumzia kwamba atakuwa anaweka angatua zote katika kaunti zote 47. Kwa hivyo atakuwa anajaribu kuwahimiza wale watu 15 kuweza kumpa nafasi kupitia usemi wake, na baada ya hapa tutakuwa tunajiunga naye Soipan Tuya ambaye atakuwa kwenye kikango vilevile kutafuta kiti au kupewa ile kiti cha kuwa waziri katika wizara ya mazingira, Soipan Tuya. Kwa hivyo ni muda mchache kutoka sasa utakuwa na mkao hiyo ambayo itakuwa inaendelea kwa sasa, na kuelekeza moja kwa moja kwenye shirika la utangazaji nchini KBC uweze kupata mpumziko fupi, kisha tarejea Soipan Tuya atakapokuwa kwenye kikango akiweza kusazwa katika kiti cha chapa.
skiza tune ya mambo mema, dial *811*815#.
Mambo mema huwaendea watu wanaosubiri, ila mambo mema zaidi huwaendea watu wanaoyatafuta. Kupata mambo mema ni ikiwa ni kutabasamu, kutafakari na kuhesabu mema na baraka ulizozichukulia hatua, ukazitafuta na kuzipata. Amka, tafuta ufanisi wako.
Kupata skiza tune ya mambo mema, dial *811*815#. *811*815#.
Afande, umejiuliza mbona si ufanya zile vitu tunafanya?
Ni nini mbaya? Hakuna kitu mbaya sana. Leave me alone. And that's an order.
Jibril and Mohammed. Their leader is still unknown.
I'm here to negotiate on behalf of the government. What name can I use?
Call me a legion.
In this world, there are three kinds of people. The sheep, the sheepdogs, and the wolves. We are the sheepdogs. It's our job to protect the sheep from the wolves.
Our mission is to rescue the hostages. These are our targets.
Wamefika. Wako halkan.
But listen to me. Somebody wants to kill Gonzalo.
Take care, Gonzalo. Your life's in danger. And just like Osvaldo, I believe that someone wants you dead. And unfortunately, that someone is so close to you that he knows your each and every move.
But the problem is that all my jewelry has disappeared.
So you're accusing me of stealing your jewelry, right?
This stone is from your ring and it was found right here. On the day your godfather died.
Me? Oh no. Come back here. Live in Mexico again. No. The stone is there because she wanted to make sure my husband was dead.
But my company talks a million about SMEs in this country. Our journey started way back in 1992 when borrowing money in this country was a real, you had to know the bank manager, you had to be in very good terms, and at times they told you even giving you a checkbook was a privilege. So in 1992, money cost between 21 and 30% to borrow. Coming forward, today, borrowing money from the bank costs between 13 and
in the media industry. She came with her own seat and put it right in the middle center of and she's making a huge difference. And I will be, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce our very own Executive Director, Monica Dungu. She is here. A round of applause for her. Trust me, this woman is an icon. Do not be fooled that she's tall. She's actually very sweet.
Zainab, good words. She knows who butters her bread, but even more, she knows that when we speak female at Nation Media Group, we're not giving it lip service. It is something we mean, it is something we do, and it is something we are extremely proud of. And it gives me great pleasure, as a representative of my group CEO, Mr. Stephen Gitagama, who we chose not to invite, and we forced to pay for this event. But he gave us his blessings because he supports women. And for him, women, like I said, is not about lip service. And today, just like Zainab said, we're joined by icons. You know, when you call Monica an icon, you start wondering what that word means. But the people with us here today are really people whose shoulders we stand on because of things they have done and said for the cause of women in this country. And today, we are joined by our keynote speaker, Professor Julia Ojambo. Let's give her a round of applause, a good round of applause. Thank you. We are also joined by Flora Mutahi, who's the chairperson of KEPSA. A big round of applause. We are also joined by Jennifer Karina. A big round of applause for Jennifer. We are also joined by Rebecca Tiba. A big round of applause for Rebecca. And we are also joined by Kathy Kuna. A big round of applause. We are also joined by lovely women dressed in purple, a color so beautiful today. I really struggled to get purple. So anybody wearing full purple, I give you props. I said a touch of purple, but I give you props. And as we were thinking about this event today, I want to read you something from Michelle Obama's book, Becoming. For every door that's been opened to me, I've tried to open my door to others. And here is what I have to say finally. Let's invite one another in. Maybe then can we begin to fear less, to make fewer wrong assumptions, to let go of the biases and the stereotypes that unnecessarily divide us. Maybe we can be better. Maybe we can better embrace the ways we are the same. It's not about being perfect. It's not about where you get yourself in the end. There's power in allowing yourself to be known and heard, in owning your unique story, in using your authentic voice. And there's grace in being willing to know and hear others. This, for me, is how we become. And as I read the book Becoming and saw this quote, I thought about us in this room today and how every single time we're accused of being our own enemies, which I dispute very, very largely. However, it also came to me that the reason Monica can't have a voice is because someone else worked hard to ensure she had that voice. And therefore the challenge Monica must have every time she stands up, she takes a role somewhere, is that she must give somebody else a voice. And that's what today is all about the present being female, about us uplifting each other, about us listening to wisdom from people that have gone before us, learned the lessons, and we therefore don't have to make mistakes that we made before. And so as you enjoy today, I beg you to listen. I beg you to understand, and I beg you to reach out to someone today and say, you know what? We will become because I'm here. And so your strength, your weakness will be something I can use. So it gives me great pleasure to allow you to enjoy yourself. You know I'm a communicator, so I choose to stop there and allow us to enjoy the evening and ask Zainab to take us through the program. Thank you very much.
In fact, I will be giving you the honor to... Apologies. All right. I want to give you the honor and to invite our keynote speaker.
Thank you, Zainab. You see, as you grow up as a young girl, I'm all of 42. These days we don't care whether they know our ages or not. We tell our ages loud and proud. I'm all of 42. But growing up in Kenya, you heard about some people. You heard about their exploits. You heard about the battles they had to go through to give people like us opportunities to think that we could become, like I said. And it would be nice for me to go through a whole CV of Professor Julia Odhiambo. But I wouldn't do it justice. Because when you hear her, you will understand why, for our inaugural high tea event, we invited Professor Julia Odhiambo. So I'll ask you to kindly stand up, be upstanding, as we welcome Professor Julia Odhiambo to kindly come and give us the keynote speech. Karibu sana. Let's give her a round of applause as she comes to the stage. This. You can have your seats. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that welcome. Distinguished political,